Last orders at the bar, please.
Welcome to Tavern Tales, a curated 5e Dungeons & Dragons adventure set in the tales of the Yawning Portal campaign module by Wizards of the Coast. Previously on Tavern Tales, with the roper finally dealt with, the group pauses to try to figure out what's going on before finally entering the last room in the third level of the Forge of Fury.
Come sit down and drink with the enemy, raise a glass and toast to the enemy, and I'm not gonna do this on my own. So come sit down and laugh with the enemy, raise a glass and sing to the enemy, and I'm not gonna do this on my own. So I won't end up being alone, 'cause I won't drink my drink alone. So what about you? One beer or two, I'll drink to you.
Oscar.
Yes.
Everyone is healed up to their full hit points. You've spent some time with this ring. Aaron, would you please describe the ring for me?
Obviously, it's a ring. It's kind of rusted, though. The gem was amethyst, but it's mostly damaged now, and there's just little chunks and flecks of amethyst in it there.
Sorry, you have to rephrase. It would be in perfect condition, the ring.
It would be?
It is in perfect condition. So if you want, just go from the beginning. I didn't think that you were going to describe damage to the ring.
What?
It was really nice and beautiful, but it's not possible. So
It's magic.
Fine.
it's magic. Ooh.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful silver with an amethyst gem inlaid perfectly in the middle with two dragons coming on each side of the band towards it.
Cool. Yeah. Love that a lot. It's weird as well. It's a purple amethyst stone given from one dwarf to another with dragons upon it. Symbolic for some reason. Now, the river gurgles happily as it rushes by you, as you leap gracefully, or dwarvenly, because what dwarves are graceful, across the chasm. None of you allow Fogroom to throw you over because that's undignified for dwarves.
Come on, it'll be fun.
One does not simply go tossing dwarves.
Across rivers.
Or at all.
Can't believe you guys don't like dwarf tossing.
Now, you're a bard.
Hey, I can do a thing. Okay, so I sing a song of rest, and everyone that is rolling hit dice can get a extra 1d6 of hit points back. I'm going to sing. Melusine tunes her lute and gently sings a relaxing, almost humming song while people, close their eyes and take a brief moment of respite. And as she was not damaged, she watches everybody while she's doing this.
Elda thanks you for that. It was very helpful. She is still very wounded. Very wounded. Thank you. That was very pretty. Ta-da! And she jumps across the river. Let's explore to the north. I'm Eldith. That's what she says, right? Is that her catchphrase?
That's her catchphrase.
I'm Eldith.
Tessakar, you are tapped on the shoulder.
So, you can get me to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Down to the third quarter. You're looking for safety or something. I can be your guy. I can help out. I could do stuff, Not just sitting over here taking callers.
No, it's funny because
do something. Shut.
He does a little jig.
I'd be like, the monster's already dead, but next time, just point it out. I'm your guy. Just hanging out.
On CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah, I'm your guy late nights. Let's go to commercial.
And
Oh my gosh.
wait, go to the north.
Well, the only reason
Have you heard the voice? Do you know who that is? Okay.
Pharrell on the bench.
You move north, away from the Roper's Cavern and this strange combat that you've been involved in with the creature that longed for death. A sturdy door of iron plate stands open in the north wall of the cavern. Inside, you see a short passageway with 3 small iron doors set into the west wall. The first 2 are open, but the third, at the end of the hall, is closed.
I say we check out the one that's closed at the end of the hall.
Yeah, you can proceed that way. Is the group...
I'll follow.
Yes.
Okay, I think Oscar said that in character. What is everybody going to say in character?
I said, yes, I will follow you.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem very Melusine like. She didn't even include a story or...
Blueberry Festival.
She just ate another Timbit.
Oscar, in general, I think that you should be careful. Hallways like this often lead to death traps, or so I've read and heard tales of. There was once a tale of a
Yeah, that sounds a lot more like Melusine.
handsome man, handsome half-elf. He was part of a circus, and his name was Drayden.
Was he now?
And he walked down a hallway and was almost killed twice.
Who is making eye contact with Melusine right now, and who is staring at the floor hoping that she will shut up?
I'm rolling my eyes at her.
All right, you roll
Pretty
your eyes.
hard.
The roof of this location is pretty close to you, and it has a damp appearance. What's Tessicar doing?
He's just walking,
Okay.
completely ignoring Melusine.
No, what's he thinking about?
Don't ask a man what he's thinking about.
He's thinking about his recent interaction with Ilmater.
Yes, that I'd like to come back to that in a moment. Oscar, what do you do while Melusine tells this tale?
I keep looking at Melusine, then back forward as to where I'm walking.
Okay, perfect.
Just enough engagement to keep me going on my story.
Yeah, absolutely. The story continues.
You know, and I think that actually
Oscar, your foot connected with something metallic and kicked it across the floor, and it goes blink, dink, 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 and hits the wall on the other end and makes a couple clattering sounds.
Oscar freezes at this sound and puts a hand over Melusine's mouth.
Everyone looks about, worried. Fogroom looks inside one of the 2 doors that are open over there. They are small little rooms that are maybe 5 feet by 5 feet total. They have the remains of what could be a bed and what would have been like a wooden bucket, but it's totally degraded over the last 100 years or so in there, and that is it. That is all that remains in this room that you look into. Melusine, you look in the other room. It too is only 5 foot by 5 foot and has a little, what used to be a bed in it and a bucket.
Can I investigate the bucket?
You may go look at the remains of bucket. It is not really a bucket anymore. It is...
So it's not holding anything?
No.
Okay.
And there was no other doors? You said there was
the 3rd door that was closed at the end of the hall.
Right.
3 doors against the west wall. All of them the same. One of them closed at the end.
Okay.
Can I maybe do an insight check to see if I can figure out what this place might have used to
That
be?
would not be an insight check. You could make a survival
Perception.
check or a history check if you'd like, or even a stoneworking check. Meanwhile, Oscar, what are you up to?
Oscar is going to motion everyone to proceed cautiously towards the door at the end of the hall,
Okay.
as these rooms seem all the exact same.
They do, yes. You motion, other people are doing other things. Eldith says, okay. And that wasn't a good Eldith, but Oscar.
is your hand still on Melusine's mouth?
As long as she's still telling her story, it might be.
I can't when your hand is on my mouth.
I slowly remove my hand.
So anyways.
Melusine continues with the story.
Okay, the story continues.
But it's like at a quieter level.
Perfect.
Whatever. Okay,
I think Jot was in that story.
we
I don't remember.
We proceed forward. Or
Okay,
I
you
proceed
take
forward.
a few more steps forward. You're at the end of the corridor already.
Okay. Where's everyone else?
Behind you.
Behind me. Let's try opening this door.
It is locked.
Let's try picking this lock.
Absolutely. Yes. Does anyone wonder what the ding was that Oscar kicked into the wall and then
Yeah, do we pass
made a
it?
couple signs? It's right against the wall. Oscar's
I'm gonna pick
standing
it up.
right beside it. You'd have to go around Oscar to get it. You stoop down, you're like right in Oscar's personal space because it's within his 5 foot square. I don't know why Oscar's ignoring it, but nonetheless, it's a key. So while Oscar is picking the lock, you find the key that opens the damn same door that Oscar's trying to pick. Go ahead, roll your pick locks.
This is going to end bad if I roll poorly on the dice, I
Most
know.
likely.
feel bad.
16 on the dice roll.
Absolutely. That door, the lock comes free while Melusine.
Oh, hey, the key.
Click.
Hooray. We found the
Show
key.
off.
We don't need no keys where we're going.
Keys. We don't need no keys.
That doesn't seem like a Melusine thing to say.
No, it's being Doc Brown.
Be Melusine.
Okay. Oh, well, I look at the key. Is it pretty? Is it?
No, it's a jailer's key.
Oh.
Literally looks like it holds. Like it would open all 3 of these doors.
Oh, like a generic.
Yes.
Huh?
A skeleton key?
No.
No.
Opens
All
cell
right.
doors. The door swings open on silent hinges. Inside are the skeletal remains of a dwarf in rusted plate armor. This individual bears an insignia of the Stonehammer clan as one of Durgeddon's principal advisors. There is a leather satchel as well on their personage, and their dried and desiccated remains look very sad to you, as it appears that they were thrown in here, and then, well, if you'd like to know how they died, you may make a medicine check. Or just ask me, how did they die?
How did they die?
Does Fogroom actually care?
Fogroom cares.
Okay, I mean, he cares about a bucket, so there's a bucket in this room too. It's a desiccated bucket as well. And there is a bed as well that is desiccated too.
I like buckets. I
Yes.
like what I like.
You're like, I want more magical buckets.
I do.
I want a bucket of army men. And then I want a barrel of monkeys.
I do now.
With your combined efforts, you realize that this individual died of dehydration.
If only he had had a bucket of barbarians.
Yes, exactly.
That obviously was not a bucket of barbarians. I point to the desiccated bucket. It's probably a pee bucket. Those are quite common here in prisons. Yep.
You can see that the plate mail is too corroded and rotten to be of any value any longer on this individual. And they're lying on the floor, face down.
What's in the satchel?
Sure, yeah, you can remove the satchel. The strap comes away because it is so dried and desiccated. And you open up the flap, and inside there is a couple of things. What's one of the things that's inside there, Allison?
There is a red bouncy ball in there that I presume he used to keep himself entertained.
Yes. As well as, Chelsea?
There is a small pocketbook with a piece of really thin charcoal inside
Yes.
of it.
Perfect. And lastly, what is a gift you would give a newborn child, Marie Claire?
There's a rattle.
A stone-shaped carved rattle with some cool thing that was carved to be inside it. I love it. That's great. There's like a symbol etched on or carved into the exterior of this rattle. What is the symbol?
It's a hexagon with a pick in the middle of it.
Excellent. There's a red bouncy ball, a pocketbook with a piece of charcoal, and a rattle in this satchel. You pull those things out, and when you open the pocketbook gently, because it does look very, very, very brittle, there is a letter inside.
What does the letter say?
We flash back.
Sorry, I like flashbacks.
Oscar was raised in a small town by his...
Grandparents.
Exactly. Oscar was raised by his grandparents. What are their names?
Eltier.
His grandparents were particularly strict and not very affectionate or loving. But then again, that's not so different from the normal Dwarven way of raising their children. The Dwarven way of raising their children. That is really hard to say, guys.
The Dwarven way of raising their children. Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, I found a new tongue twister, everyone.
Oh, yay.
Good news, everyone.
The Dwarven way of raising their children.
Thank you. But we flash back to these two debating late at night, Grandma and Grandpa, about the raising of Oscar. And Grandpa says that we should just tell Oscar who his parents are so that he knows his heritage. I hate lying to the boy. And Grandma says, that's not nice, that's not right. You know what his parents did, and that will crush him. Let him be a Stonehammer. Now, these weren't really your grandparents because your grandfather is actually Borko the Old, the brother of Durgar the Black. But you called them Grandma and Grandpa because they were older and they were of no relation to Borko, and you knew that at the time, but you never really inquired as to who Mom and Dad were. But you were given to them by Borko, who said that your mom had died in the mountain, and that's why you were raised by these two parents. And this satchel and this person in this room is Borko himself. The letter says, "My dear Oscar, I am not your grandfather."
Dun dun dun. Organ.
Oh no, this is definitely a Maury episode for sure.
Yeah.
And the paternity test says
That was a lie.
And the tale is, when the orcs descended, Borko passed you on to someone else who raised you outside of this redoubt in a small town. Not Stonehammers themselves, but you always grew up believing yourself to be a Stonehammer, the grandchild of Borko the Old, correct?
Yes.
But that is not the truth. The truth in this letter tells of an illicit love between a married man and a Durgar, a grey dwarf named Numira, and that their illicit love tore all of the Stonehammer clan apart and brought misfortune and ill luck upon everyone.
He just killed his own mother.
And in the flashback, there is a woman who has found out about Durgar the Black's affair and has cursed Numira and transformed her into a roper.
Wait, so Durgar was his dad?
Yes.
But Durgar was a Stonehammer.
Yes.
So he's still a Stonehammer, but just like different daddy.
Yes.
Whoa.
That's why he still has the boop nose.
Hello, Boopy.
So he is now
Schmoopy boopy.
the uncle of Tessakar and Eldeth.
So do we call you Schmoopy Nose? No, Scrumbly Nose?
No, that was Durgeddon was, or we're not sure who's who.
Scrumbly Butt?
Yeah.
Scrumbly Bum?
And Bunny Cake.
Scrumpshy bum.
Scrumpshy Bum.
There we go.
No, I think he was Bunny Cakes, so...
I want to, is this in character or is this Murray
No.
Craig? It's like really weird to listen to.
Sorry.
Meanwhile, all of this is just happening in Oscar's head. He's just reading a letter. What does your face do as you make these connections, Oscar?
So I start reading it like intently, and then my eyes get wider, and the paper starts shaking and slowly falling apart because it's old. And then my mouth slowly becomes more aghast.
As Tessakar sees this, he goes over to Oscar's side and just puts an arm around him, gently holding him as he's reading the letter.
Hey,
Does that just give you the opportunity to read the letter too?
Yeah, but he's also more concerned about Oscar.
Okay,
Because
cool.
Oscar is his favorite.
What happens when you read the letter to your face?
A bit of sadness comes on it, just a little bit, and he gives Oscar a tighter hug.
what are you guys doing over there?
Shut up, Fogroom.
You may both have a blue gem. A kind and touching moment passes, and Fogroom is left in the cold.
Hey,
Told to shut up.
I know.
Melusine
He does have another side.
actually sees that Fogroom is like upset at being told to shut up, so she just goes and hugs him.
Get off me.
She's like,
Why is everybody hugging? I don't like it. Everybody get off each other. Stupid.
Ah, fuck you. And then you get a hug from Eldeth.
it's like a foggy sandwich now.
This family sucks.
So, 5 dwarves hug each other in the
Eldeth
prison
starts
cell
crying.
where Borko the Old died.
Is anyone going to tell me what's going on?
Shut up, Fogroom.
Stop it.
I will hand Fogroom the letter to read. This letter explains everything. Who my father was, that thing was my mother, and these two, I'm their uncle.
Let me see this letter.
And I hand Fogroom the letter.
And I am kind of like mouthing the words as I read it because that's how I read. I need a little help.
Finger across
Yeah,
each
finger
line.
across. And I'm kind of, yeah. And then my eyes go wide and I reread some of it again because I'm like, no. And then I look Borgo. I figure out who he is because I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, oh, that's all I have to say. I'm left speechless.
I don't know what anything is anymore. Left is right, up is down, stone is water. It makes no sense.
Now I get the hugs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you insensitive prick!
Maybe you just told me in the first place. Jeez. Just want to be included.
So Melusine, as Foggy was reading the letter, is kind of like puts her chin gently on Foggy's shoulder because he's so invested in reading the letter he doesn't really notice, and then tries to correct him as he like says words wrong slightly out loud, but then stops and just kind of finishes the letter and then like walks away like 2 minutes before Foggy finishes reading the letter.
Tessakar, you're hugging Oscar, one arm around him, and your arm doesn't quite fit around him. Normally you can like buddy up, put your arm around, just grip that shoulder in.
You're saying my arm is short right now?
And your arm doesn't fit around Oscar. Like you reach and your arm is like only halfway past his back. And when you look at Oscar to look him in the eye, you just look him in the belly button.
Why am I shrinking?
Why am I growing?
It's the ring.
The two of them look at each other and assume the other is causing something to happen to themselves, and it is in fact Oscar that is growing.
Cool. Because
a Durgar subtrait is that you have the ability to cast the enlarge/reduce spell upon yourself once per long rest.
Cool.
That is something that Durgar get to do.
So is he Ant-Man now?
Yeah, basically.
Give me that white gem.
That's how I lost the other one. Saying stupid things.
How long does it last for?
It is just like the spell, and you get that one for free because I made that happen. So, anyway, everyone, he is now a large creature.
Whoa. Ah, Oscar.
He cannot leave the room.
Oh, no.
He is too big to get out.
Guys, can you open the door? You're all so far down there.
I don't think you're going to fit, Oscar. What happened to you?
Oscar, I always wanted to look up to you, but not like this.
You all got really small.
You just grew really big.
I get hungry when I'm sad, and now I'm just fat and sad.
Aw. Maybe if we all hug him.
I was gonna say, maybe if you try thinking about yourself as smaller, you would get smaller.
Oh, yeah. Or try that.
I'll try my best. No, nothing. I'm just still really big.
Say, I wish I was smaller.
Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day.
Hey, I think you might know a spell or two. This one being the 2. You got bigger because that's a spell.
Very good. How do I get smaller?
Cast the same spell and ask for reduce instead of enlarging.
Yeah, that doesn't work initially.
Because I don't know how I cast it the first time.
What's the spell components?
Yeah, there are no spell components. It's just something that you can do.
Oh.
Okay.
A minute later, you shrink back down.
Okay, so it doesn't last very long.
No.
Okay.
Mostly it was just Tessakar yelling at you to shrink.
Think small.
Stop casting the spell.
Think small thoughts.
Cast it again the other way.
Think of cold showers.
Do you have any other options?
Make yourself smaller, and then the atoms in your body will compress.
And then you'll be able to like punch really hard.
But don't break them. Don't break the atoms in your body because then you'll explode and take us all with you.
Yeah. Pretend you are an ant.
Man.
And this is your ant hole.
You're
And
an
he starts
asshole.
to shrink.
Hey, that's the one.
That was the 2.
It's the 2. Thank you.
What do you do with the remains?
Of
Borgo the
Oracle?
Old.
Borko.
Is there anything that I could use to like cover him up in the cell or anything like that?
Not really so
I've
much.
got a spell for this. I have one that lets me move 1 cubic foot or whatever of material, and we could. I feel like it was like no, not phantasmal. It was a cantrip.
Gentle repose would be something you could cast upon this body.
It was like
I don't have anything.
Can we just lay him on his back and put his hands nicely and leave him like that?
It's mostly just bones and desiccated, dried skin in this plate mail armor.
Oh, I was thinking of prestidigitation. I can just clean things with this. Why did I get this spell? It's the most useless spell in life.
Kidding me? It's amazing.
Oscar, what would you like us to do with Borgle?
I'd like a moment alone with Borko, if you all don't mind, to pay my respects.
Okay. We all leave.
Yeah.
You head back outside. You're then looking at the remains of the roper. I mean, Oscar's mom.
Melusine quietly sings a little cleaning song. Do, 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 do. And like prestidigitation is kind of cleaning off Foggy a little bit. Just like getting him a little tidy.
Tickles.
Foggy, that's do you think my grandpa is my grandpa? Or do you think that I have a different grandpa? Because like it seems like there's like a grandpa switch happening, and it's like making me
We
really
move from this awkward and weird conversation
thank you.
to the final moments between Oscar and Borgle. No relation. Well, I guess distant relation. His uncle. So direct relation.
I never knew you, but finding you in this place and finding this letter changes everything. For whatever you've done, thank you for opening my eyes. And then I take off my leather like vest and I drape it over him, kind of like a blanket.
Wow.
And I kiss my fingers and I touch the head or whatever
Through the blanket.
through the blanket. And then I leave and I close the door.
Great. I'm going to just say that you've also got like a sleeping blanket that you could use instead of your own vest. But I like that color too. You may have a white.
Ooh.
A white one.
Woo.
And I will point out that the two dwarves that raised you spoke so fondly and so at length of your relationship to Borgol and how important you were to Borgol, but did not ever know who your mother was. Now you are perhaps a bit clear, since Borgol was never married either. On that sad note, you have finished the 3rd level of the Forge of Fury and climb back up the ramp to the edge of the waterfall that only so recently you threw yourselves off of.
One of us did. 2 of us did. That's hardly all of us. Some of us took the stairs.
The sensible ones took the stairs. Like my niece.
Is our niece and nephew. Both
I'm a
with
nephew.
them.
Well, now you can bitch them out for fighting. And they have to be more respectful to you.
But of greater import is a small silk purse that, as you lay the fabric of your vest down upon Borgol the Old, a small silk purse that did not succumb to the ages, fell out of the inside of his breastplate, rolling with a clump onto the ground. You look inside. There are 8 platinum pieces and a key. You know not to what, but it is the only other thing in this very, very well-protected and well-maintained purse. So it must open something important.
Cool.
But of course it's a key. So Oscar's like, whatever, I don't care. Throws it away. He's got his lockpick tools.
No, I'm keeping the key.
Oh.
And that is where we'll end today's session.
Raise a glass and drink with the enemy. Raise a glass and sing with the enemy. And I'm not gonna do this on my own. And raise a glass and toast to the enemy. Raise a glass and sing to the enemy. And I'm not gonna do this on my own.
This concludes this episode of Tavern Tales, a curated Dungeons & Dragons 5e game set in the Tales of the Yawning Portal adventure module by Wizards of the Coast. Our intro and outro music is the song Tavern Tales by the Bad Billy Band. You can find out more about the Bad Billy Band on iTunes or at www.badbillyband.com or follow them on Twitter at badbillyband. Thanks for listening. Please feel free to leave us a review on iTunes or find us on Twitter at tavern_tales. We'll be back next week with more of the adventure. Coffee grounds?
No, it's hot chocolate clumpies.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes that's delicious.
Hot
Sometimes
chocolate
that's
clumpies.
not. So,
Like
No,
the
it
milk
was
salt
like-
at the bottom.
yeah,
like
it's
the
what
salty
Timmy's.
bit?
It's Timmy's. Like it doesn't fully melt.
It was the candy cane one, so it was like,
Oh, yeah.
I love.
If you were a kid, you might have enjoyed that. Anyway,